Welcome back to the program. Of course, we're back. And you can weigh in on Twitter at Channels TV and at CTV Template, just in case you want to contribute to this discussion. We still got the CEO of Kedari Capital, Mrs. Ife Fashola, in the house. But when the federal government released the much-awaited economic recovery and growth plan, investors received the documents with heaving a sigh of relief. If properly implemented, just like a lot of analysts have said, the ERGP, as often called, is expected to recover the economy from the 1.5% contraction we had in 2016 to a 2.2% expansion in the calendar year 2017. But the ERGP sits at the heart of the capital market with its gamut of strategies. From the perspective of a portfolio investor, let's look at how the plans will influence instruments listed in the NSE, the FMDQ, the NASD, OTC. Like I said earlier, the chief executive at Kedari Capital, Mrs. Ife Fashola, is still with us to do justice to this. Mrs. Fashola, let's look at this plan. I know you've read through it and digested it very well. Talk to us about its relevance for the Nigerian capital market at large.
Thank you. The capital market rides on the back of the companies and the corporates that operate in the economy. So what we do is basically handle financing. So it's on the back of this that for us to do justice to the ERGP, we have to look at how it actually stimulates the economy. What effect does it have on the common man? What effect does it have on the manufacturing industries? What effect does it have in every sphere of the economy? The ERGP is a very good initiative by the government. I mean, it has built, from what we've seen, it has built on previous plans. So we've had all the Vision 2010s and 2020s, we've had the needs and all of them, and they have looked at all of them and come up with this to rescue Nigeria from the current recession. It's not so much in the policy, it's in the implementation of it. All of these other policies, all of these other documents that we have had before, all the visions that we've had before, were very good. The ERGP is just as good, but none of them was ever fully implemented or properly implemented. So what would set this one apart is the will and the zeal of the government to actually walk the talk. So what we have right now is what they want to do. They want to make sure that by 2020, you know, we're producing 2.5 million barrels. How do we get there?
That's a major target in
the question on everybody's lips now is, this is a plan. Where is the project plan? Where is the implementation plan? What is the roadmap for getting from plan to action? And that's what we're looking to government for.
So we know that capital markets wasn't even mentioned in the plan, in the entire pages of that document. But in terms of entrenching this confidence in the capital market, how do you see that, you know, impacting on, say, foreign portfolio investors bringing in their money, whether hot cash or the other way, you know, going forward?
You see, you don't need to expressly mention the capital market. I'll give you an example sector by sector. If the government is proactive about the FX policy and they ensure that it is clear how money comes in, how money goes out, FDIs will come back in. When FDIs come back in, they will directly invest in various sectors of the economy. The capital market will boom. If the government is clear about what they want to do to stimulate agriculture, what you will have is agricultural enterprises that would spring up that would impact the capital market. If the government is clear about what they want to do about oil, which they have said clearly in the plan, if they implement it and we stop importing all of our refined products and we actually do what we should about refining in-house, and we cut importation by 60% as the government has said, it will impact the capital markets. If the government actually goes ahead with what they have said, that they will stop borrowing so heavily from the domestic market and they'll start getting money in from outside and allow the money that is in the system to be accessible to the corporates and the manufacturing concerns and the people that need money in here who currently cannot afford to compete with government at treasury bill rate, it would impact the capital market. So what you see is that if everything comes together as it should, the capital market benefits more than anybody else.
Because as it is right now, we've been hovering around 25,000, 24,000 psychological line for some time, no movement, and that's because, should we say inactions?
Well, it's lack of direction.
Great. Well, let's look at another side of that ERGP, where the federal government looks to, like you mentioned earlier, ramp up oil production to 2.5 million barrels per day by 2020 and privatize the selected public enterprises and some of the other assets. Over the years, there's been so much controversies around privatization and all of that, because a lot of operators like you really wanted these companies to be listed in the stock exchange, and that hasn't happened. What do you make of this, basically?
I think that this is, this one is a direct message to government. We've had several privatization programs in this country, and we've done them successfully. And the competence is in-house. The know-how is in-house. But the moment that government decides that they want to do this now, they'll say that you must bring in your foreign, in fact, the process must be led by foreign advisory firms. A lot of us have come from these foreign advisory firms to work in Nigeria. There's nothing they're bringing in terms of human capital that is not available in-house. Nigerians are the most intellectually capable people in the world. We have everything we need to do, everything we want to do in this nation. So if the government allows those of us who are already in the system to do the work, we understand our nation, we understand our economy, we understand our assets. We don't need people to come and teach us what to do.
So if they can float the bids, you, the local operators, can actually participate in the bids.
Exactly.
Well, we're running out of time gradually. Next week, Monday, we'll be having the Monetary Policy Committee meeting. Some people have projected again that despite all the gains that we've seen in the macroeconomics recently, that we will still have the rates retained. What do you make of that?
It's a difficult one. Because of what is happening in the U.S. at the moment, rates have increased in the U.S. and people are saying that it would impact us here. And it normally does. But Nigeria has been in a very interesting state of what they call stagflation. Right. And so will government has said that they want to stop borrowing from the local economy. And in the same breath, we've had government release the savings bond, and they've taken more money from the economy, and we continue to issue treasury bills. So the interest rates in here continue to be high. If MPR decides to take a head-on approach and reduce rates next week, then we'll begin to see things calm down in the system.
That's your expectation? That may not be the outcome.
That may not be the
outcome. Mrs. Fashola, CEO at Kedari Capital, thank you very much for honoring our invitation.
Thank you.
I appreciate your comment and do hope to have you again next time.
Thank you.
Well, that's all the time we have again on Capital Market. I'm Temple Ashaju, and I'll see you back here next time.